So I want to start with giving an example, basically. So this is an example of a bird called seagull. Uh, you know, these seagulls are normally up on the ocean. They wander around, and so the name of the seagull was Jonathan. So the Jonathan was a very different kind of bird compared to the other flock. He was not interested in just getting food. So normally birds fly just from one place to other place just to get food. But he was interested in flying. So he loves flying. He'll do all different kinds of techniques. And when his flock found out about him, they said, we just fly to get food. I don't know why you making all those moves and all these techniques. But we live to just to get food. And he said, but I enjoy flying, and sometimes I use deep sea diving and I get the best fish, and I want to see what's possible for me. So they basically outcasted him. I said, no, you don't belong to our family. We are here just to survive. So then basically the story continued. He joined falcons who were like them and who just fly so fast and go to places before they even think. So I'm giving this analogy to tell you that basically most of us live a life like that, life on autopilot and just going with the motions and going with flows, and you are just like basically Niagara Falls syndrome. They used to call going with the flow, do what everybody else is doing, and then on top of that, we see that how over the years we have different views about ourselves, views about the world. Most of you are successful and have degrees and you have position and power, and you realize that you think something about yourself which you may not, and I call it like your false self, like because your ego wants you to believe who you're not. So you are kind of like most of us live a life like that. So live life which is little bit uh, not 100% true to the reality. We just want to believe what we believe in. And also life on autopilot is very common. And the reason I gave this analogy because leaders think differently about things and about life, especially about themselves. They first want to lead themselves. They want to improve themselves and make their life and make their lifestyle and their knowledge and learning better before they lead others. It's a two-way street. And but once you are in that autopilot mode, you forget your own part. You think, oh, you know enough. You've been through college, you've been through schooling, and you have a position, you have responsibilities, and you don't need to know enough about yourself. And you just basically become a little bit oblivious about yourself. And that's what they say. Most of the leaders they're not very introspective. They don't want to know their shortcomings or their faults or how they can improve. But as I said, for you to become a good leader, you basically have to see things differently, as the Jonathan looked at his flight differently. Although he was able to get the best food compared to other birds because he was very inquisitive. He tried all different kind of techniques. So the life is about finding your real calling or purpose, or finding or seeking your potential. See what's possible. That's what Jonathan did. He wanted to know how I can be the best of myself. And that's the journey we are in, that finding what's possible, stretch your limits, and find out more about yourself, and push yourself a little bit, slowly and gradually establish those good habits so you can be the best version of yourself. And our brain is on the other side, has a different role. The function of the brain is just to protect yourself and just have homeostasis, keep everything calm, So the brain wants us to live in the comfort zone and don't want us to stretch or do things differently because it's challenging. It's a little bit stressful for the brain and stressful for the body. So we have to kind of like, push ourselves and go beyond that. And then we see the result of that stretch, which we go through. And so we have ourselves, like you as a leader, I want everybody to consider yourself already a leader because you're on that path and you have that a desire to improve yourself, and especially in this 2021, you want to be a you want to have this year a different years. You don't want to live a life on autopilot. You want to think more carefully about yourself and see what is true self, who you really are, and what are your potentials, what are your desires, and what is possible, and how much uh, you can give back to the environment, to the community, to the hospital, to your patients, wherever you're serving, and see your best self. And then you'll find out in that journey that we are stuck with a lot of challenge for ourselves to improve on, like our habits are the main thing. We just have developed these habits. We'll be talking in detail about the habits in the other session, but our habits, our attention, we'll be speaking about that too. And then focus, and how do we understand and control our emotions, and how do we restrain our desires and think which is keeping us away to find the best version of yourself. But once you're on that path and you go beyond that, you will find a little bit more clarity and purpose for yourself. And then you will be at ease, and you will have a self-acceptance. So self-acceptance is the beginning. It's not the perfect self, but basically it's a good starting point, and then you can build on it from there. So you will realize that once you live a life like that, life of continuous journey, life of improvement, life of going through the challenges and finding what's possible, uh, that you are more happy, you're more relaxed, and when you are in that state, you're able to serve better, you're able to give better to other people, and then you think that oh, I'm the only one person. What can I do, and how can I influence and change other people's behavior? But you will be surprised that basically you're not one, but you are with many people. You have your family is the primary thing which are with you all the time, and then you are able to influence a lot of people around you. And if by you taking this small journey, in the long run, it will be a great success, not only for yourself, but for your immediate family, for your friends, the community you serve, the hospital you serve, the environments you are on. And you'll see the changes around you, how everybody is learning from you, and you are able to play a key role, and able to change the lives of many people. And this is, I think, uh, we are here for, to make sure that we continuously improve ourselves, and at the same time, and be on that path, and embark on that journey where we basically serve and do the best from our ability to embark on that challenge. So this is just a little bit of an introduction about how we are going to release ourselves from our false self, how we can just shake our autopilot mode and come and see what's my real self. And you will be seeing, like, I will be sharing some slides, and after that we'll have the next session. Basically it'll be consist of 3 sessions, and I encourage people to stay till the end if possible. And see, the first one we'll be discussing about how the brain works, and how, as a leader, you have to understand what is the thinking brain, what is the emotional brain. We'll be discussing in details. And then the ABCs of leadership, there'll be the second session. And the third session will be speaking about the environment which we live in. And after the break, Dr. Javed Iqbal is my professor. He's a very accomplished person. He was the dean of the medical school. He retired. And then he started doing these leadership and motivational training programs at his hospitals. And he does a lot of talks. His YouTube channel is very popular, almost 1 million followers. And he does so good. And he was lucky that he's able to accept our, uh, invitation, and he'll be joining us after the lunch. So now I'm just gonna stop for a few minutes and let everybody think. And I want to see that brain rules, how our brain works. It's very different. The idea of the brain is to retain, to information, and then to comprehend. And Scott Medina, he's a molecular biologist at MIT. He wrote a book a long time ago. I read it a while back, but I still practice the principle which he mentioned, that how our brain works. Our brain works very differently. In order for us to absorb information, our attention span is less. So I'm going to speak like for 10, 12 minutes, and then I'll stop, and then have everybody just like, digest that information and see how, what come up in your thinking and reflection. And I'm sure you will have some insights based on that. That's what I said. If you disconnect from other things while you're present, you'll see how much you can come out with the ideas and creative things. And the other ways brain works is by showing pictures, by questions and answers. You ask a question, somebody will remember that question later. If I speak as normally the teachers do in a classroom style, they said that a year from now, everybody will forget that you even attended the lecture, forget what you learned from the lecture. So we remember and retain information by interactive conversation, by looking at different pictures and slides and videos. And so I'm going to try to keep the same format. So now I'm going to stop